So hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Tonight, the Southern Tier Clean Energy Communities team is going to be talking to you about a community campaigns action, the community campaigns action that's part of the Clean Energy Communities Leadership Rounds. Before we begin, I would like to go over some Zoom housekeeping. This webinar is being recorded and will be available afterwards at southerntiercec.org/webinars. It will be posted on our website within the next day or two. If you have any questions that you would like answered or that come up over the course of the webinar, please use the Q&A function to type your questions, and we'll answer all the questions at the end of the webinar. If you have any logistical or other communications that you'll like to communicate with us, please use the chat function. For example, if one of us is too far away from our microphones, please use the chat function to inform us so that we can adjust accordingly. Here is our agenda for the webinar. We're going to start off with some brief partner introductions. We'll give an overview of the Clean Energy Communities Program and the Community Campaigns Action. And then our partners and panelists will talk to you about ways that you can successfully implement a community campaign within your community. And then we'll wrap everything up with a Q&A at the end of the webinar. So I'd like to start off with doing some brief partner introductions. We're joined today by some great panelists. They represent some nonprofits that will help communities move through the Community Campaigns High Impact Action and the Clean Energy Communities Program. Each one of the panelists will give a more in-depth introduction of who they are when we get to their respective part later on in the presentation. But tonight we are joined by the Community Energy Engagement Program, or CEEP, C-E-E-P, and Smart Energy Choices, the Network for Sustainable Tomorrow, also commonly known as NEST, and their Heat Smart Southern Tier program, the campaign directors for Heat Smart FLX South and Heat Smart Tompkins, and members from Transition Catskills. So first, I'd like to start off with the Clean Energy Communities overview, an overview of this grant program. So what are Clean Energy Communities? The Clean Energy Communities Program is a grant program through the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, or NYSERDA. The purpose of this program is to encourage communities within New York State to help implement clean energy actions. And as they implement these actions, they are expected to see save on energy costs, save energy, create jobs, and help improve the environment. For communities that are participating in this grant program, you will also be recognized and rewarded for leadership that your community takes as you complete these clean energy projects. And this program is designed for counties, cities, towns, and villages. The Clean Energy Communities Program has multiple benefits for communities and their constituents. So first off is by participating in the Clean Energy Communities Program, you have access to grant money that can be used for clean energy projects within your community. And kind of, to show the scale of this, the amount of money available for communities is we have almost $1 million, 800,000 to be exact, that's earmarked for small and medium-sized communities within the Southern Tier. Other benefits from municipalities include community investment. So a lot of our actions revolve around updating municipal facilities, lowering energy usage, which lowers energy costs, and doing some infrastructure upgrades, such as converting streetlights to LEDs, which have an enormous benefit in providing well-lit roads, sidewalks, and safety for residents of your community. Our program also provides free technical program assistance to local governments to help them move through this program also. So as I've kind of mentioned, the Clean Energy Communities Program is a grant program. It is a competitive grant fund program, and there are a few ways that you can receive grant funding by participating. The three main ways are through designation grants, point-based grants, and action grants. So designation grants if you've participated in this program before, are kind of the familiar way to receive grant money. You complete 4 high impact actions and receive the you receive the designation as a clean energy community, and you'll be eligible for a $5,000 grant. Point-based grants are awarded as you complete actions. So as you complete actions within our program, you will start accruing points for successfully completing them. And once you reach certain point tiers, you'll be eligible for varying amounts of grant funding. And the third and final way to receive grant funding in our program is through action grants. So there are now certain actions that you can complete that have additional funding attached to them when they are successfully completed. So I just want to give a brief overview of some of the actions that can be done within the Clean Energy Communities program. So in January 2021, we recently launched a new round of the Clean Energy Communities program, the Leadership Round. With this round, we retained the original high impact actions from the first round of the Clean Energy Communities program. And we also added some new actions for the Clean Energy Communities programs. And with these new actions, the two actions highlighted in yellow are action grants. So if the community completes those actions, they may be eligible for additional funding upon the action's completion. And the focus of this webinar today is going to be on the community campaigns action that is outlined here in the green box. So let's dive into this action a little bit more. So the community campaigns action is an action that has been designed to promote clean energy within your community. It's also designed to help local governments engage and promote resident participation in different community campaigns and different programs that help support clean energy. These campaigns were designed to have enduring benefits also to members of your community, but providing ways for the local government to invest back into their community, help residents gain access to clean energy, clean energy technologies, utilizing state incentives, help promote energy cost savings, and through continual investment and participation in these campaigns, start creating local jobs. And these campaigns to also, as I've mentioned before, they are an action grant, so communities can receive upwards of $60,000 depending on community size by successfully completing a community campaign. And for each campaign that's completed, a community will be awarded points within the Clean Energy Communities program. So let's just take a quick look at the funding breakdown for these different campaigns. So these are action grants. They are competitive, and which means that they are first come and first serve grants. And all these grants are statewide. So there's a limited number of these grants across the state. If you're a large community and you're participating in a community campaign, you'll be eligible for upwards of $15,000 if you complete a campaign. There are 40 of these $15,000 awards. And to have a successful campaign, the metric that NYSERDA uses is having 25 participants in that campaign. If you're a small and medium-sized community, or if your population is less than 40,000 people, you'll be eligible to receive $5,000 grants per campaign. And there are 100 of these awards statewide. And the metric used to show that this campaign was successful is to have 10 campaign participants. So there are 4 different campaign types that a community can participate in. The first one is community solar. The second one is electric vehicles. The third is clean heating and cooling and energy efficiency. And the fourth is demand response. The main focus of this webinar is going to be on community solar and clean heating and cooling and energy efficiency. And next, I'm going to just dive into each one of those campaigns just briefly before I turn it over to our panelists. So the first campaign, community solar, it's also known as community distributed generation. If you'd like to participate in this campaign, a local government would enter a partnership with regional CDG projects or work with a local solar company along with our partner organizations to promote community solar subscriptions amongst their residents. And these CDG projects are not just limited to solar, but they can also include access to wind and hydro energy. The next campaign, electric vehicles, is a great campaign where a local government will partner with local car dealerships or platform providers. And the goal is to really increase awareness of the EV market, the makes and models of vehicles that are available to residents, and help making plug-in hybrids and electric vehicles more accessible to community residents. The next campaign is the Clean Heating and Cooling and Energy Efficiency campaign, where a local government will partner with a local organization such as HeatSmart, the SEEP program, NEST, etc. And this campaign, the goal of it is to really encourage the adoption of clean heating and cooling technologies along with energy efficiency retrofits to homes, businesses, and community institutions. Technologies that are commonly included are ground source heat pumps, air source heat pumps, and heat pump hot water heaters, for example. And then the last campaign is running a demand response campaign where a local government will partner with providers of demand response products and services. So these products and services kind of include using smart thermostats to regulate temperature within your home, investment in battery storage battery energy storage, and peak saver campaigns. So our partners can help your communities participate in these campaigns in a variety of ways. And I'm going to turn it over to them so that they can talk to you how they specialize in each of these subject areas and how that they can help successfully implement a campaign within your community. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Eileen Hanrahan so that she can talk about energy efficiency and weatherization.
Hi, my name is Eileen Hanrahan. I'm a community energy advisor with Cornell Cooperative Extension, covering Broome, Tioga, Shenango, and Chemung counties, working for the SEEP program. Next. So our region covers these eight counties, with Binghamton, Elmira, Ithaca, and Endicott being our largest urban areas, and many smaller rural districts and municipalities as well. Next. So what we do is provide outreach and education to residents of our region to inform them about opportunities for free home energy assessments and to get grant funding to provide energy upgrades to their homes. For example, a standard home has leaks that if you were to add them all up would be equivalent to an open window 365 days a year. So what we want to do is close up all those leaks, add some insulation, and sort of provide a nice comparable to maybe a warm blanket around your home so that you can reduce your utility costs and make your home more comfortable. Next. So there's most homes in New York State are older homes, but there are newer homes as well. And in both cases, you're going to find some energy efficiency, probably in both. So for example, in the older home on the left, you see some icicles, and on the right, and in the newer home on the right, you also see icicles. Icicles are a very prominent indication of energy inefficiency in a home, indicating that heat is rising out of the living space into the attic, melting snow, and then causing those icicles. So if you have icicles, it's a pretty good telltale sign that you probably need some more insulation in your home. Next. And one way we address those energy inefficiency concerns is to do a home energy audit. And one of the tools that's often used is a thermal imaging camera. In this display, you can show that on the left. You can see that on the left. In that older home, for example, when cellulose insulation was blown in many years ago, it has settled. So not all the insulation doesn't go all the way to the ceiling in each room anymore. And in the right, you see that there's a tremendous heat loss into the attic in that newer home, primarily through those recessed lights where they have not been insulated. And so there's all kinds of heat loss into the attic causing that those icicles. So those are just two examples in older and newer homes where there's very prevalent energy inefficiency. Next. So in addition to addressing the energy inefficiency with insulation in a home, a comprehensive energy audit is done with certified professional contractors that are approved by NYSERDA. This comprehensive audit can take 1-2 hours or so, depending on the size of the home, and they check for insulation levels in the living space, attic, and basement. They check for air leaks throughout the home, appliance efficiency, and they also do health and safety checks on fossil fuel-based heating systems, hot water heaters, and appliances to make sure they're not pumping out carbon monoxide. Next. And there are multiple funding opportunities available for residents depending on income level. For folks earning 60% or less of median income, you can get up to $10,000 towards home energy upgrades. For families of more moderate income, which is about up to 120% of median income, families are eligible for matching grants, 50% up to $5,000 towards home energy upgrades. And for higher income households making over 120% of median income, there's grant funding available for $1,000 to $400,000 towards home energy upgrades. And again, we can address insulation levels, heating systems, air sealing, and safety of appliances and hot water heaters and so forth. Next. So that's a quick summary of our program and what we can do for your residents in your municipality. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at eeh85@cornell.edu, or my number is there as well. And you can check out our website at smartenergychoices.org. Thank you so much.
All right, and next we're going to turn it over to Erica Herman, who will talk to you about heat pumps.
I'll unmute myself first. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Erica Herman. I am the campaign director for the Heat Smart FLX South program. Next. So the Heat Smart FLX South program is actually one of 22 sister programs that participates in what is called the Clean Heating and Cooling campaigns, which are through NYSERDA, New York State Energy and Research Development Authority. So what is the Clean Heating and Cooling community about? So we are community-based. We are usually out of a nonprofit. I actually am housed at the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Schuyler County office, serving both Seneca, Yates, Steuben, and Schuyler counties. But these are community-based programs, and the idea is to help provide unbiased information, education, and also enabling people to access incentives and different programs to adopt a heat pump into their home. Along with that, on the pathway to heat pumps, we do also support households and small businesses in accessing incentives for weatherization opportunities at the same time. So why are these programs important? So the idea is to help decrease our heating and cooling costs within our homes and businesses while increasing comfort, health and safety, and also cutting back on fossil fuels and lowering our carbon footprint. So if any of those are something that gets you excited, this would be a perfect fit to check us out. So again, our extension office is the one who houses the program for Finger Lakes South. And we also are appreciative of our sister associations in the neighboring communities that help support us. So check in with me to help find your local branch. Next. So there are two types of heat pumps. So I think about heat pumps as like the trunk of a tree, and then you have your two branches. You have your air source and you have your ground source. So air source heat pumps tend to be 2 to 3 times more energy efficient than your stereotypical fossil fuel systems such as fuel oil, propane, and electric resistance, which tend to be really expensive. They come in 2 different forms. You can sometimes do a duct retrofit into your existing ductwork in your basement or attic, or another option is doing something called a mini split system. I like to joke that's called mini split because half the unit's outside and half's on the inside. So if we look at the one image in the middle, that is the outside component, which is a condenser, and that little tail coming off the back, is the coolant line that's going to the various parts of the home to heat or cool. You can do both. So you have separate climate control in each space that you want to heat. And in this image, we see on the far left what's called a wall-mounted unit. They also come in floor mount options as well. They just have a little bit of a premium cost for those, but they can be a really nice fit. And if you can't reach to manually change the temperature, it comes with a handy remote. So the cost for air source heat pumps very roughly can be anywhere from like $10,000 to $15,000. If you're looking at doing maybe a single mini split wall or floor mount for an addition, for example, maybe anything from $3,500 to $5,000. And that's not looking at even incentives yet. Next. So the other sister option is ground source heat pumps, which are 4 to 5 times more energy efficient than the typical, as I said, options of propane, fuel oil, and electric resistance heating. So wait a second, why are they 4 to 5 times more efficient while air source are 2 to 3 times? Well, if you looked at the last image with the air source heat pumps, you have the ducted option or sometimes the actual outdoor condensers sitting outside. So it has to work a little bit harder. The outside component of a ground source heat pump actually lives underground, which is usually 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit year round. So it doesn't take much more effort for it to cool your home or to heat your home from that temperature. Systems for ground source heat pumps can come in a couple different fashions. You could possibly do a duct retrofit, or if you have a good sized basement without ducts, ducts can be placed in. They can sometimes also be retrofitted with current water-based systems, such as boilers, etc. But double check with your installer first to make sure that it's compatible. So the outside portion, again, lots to do with outside. It either comes in a trenched fashion where they need a chunk of space to dig about 6 feet down to lay the coolant lines, or a vertical well is drilled, similar to what you have for water well, but not as deep if there are space constraints or other concerns. So the average cost for that is anywhere from $22,000 to $50,000+. And again, we're not going to touch deeply into incentives, but NYSEG and other major utility companies for the average home size with heating demand are handing out roughly anything from $2,500 to $9,000. And there's federal tax incentives for ground source heat pumps as well. Next. So ask me why I'm pumped. Well, I really like talking about heat pumps, so that's definitely one reason. But the great benefits overall that I'll touch on very briefly to save us time is with those really expensive fuel systems I mentioned, we might be able to even cut costs down to 1/3 of what you've been paying. Plus, you get to heat and cool with it. So if you don't have AC, this can be a great opportunity to get both. They are made for cold climate. So they are made to handle our cold, rugged northern temperatures. They have a lot of great health and safety aspects, especially if you're someone with asthma or COPD for your home or business. No cords, no combustion, no dust from pellet or wood stoves. They're great for our carbon footprint, and they're super easy to take care of, usually just changing out some filters and doing some basic vacuuming and clearance. So with that, thank you so much, and we'll put on to our next presenter.
Thanks very much, Erica. Next slide, please. So I am not Haley Delisle. I am Adam Flint, Director of Clean Energy Programs at the Network for a Sustainable Tomorrow. Haley is in the final throes of moving to a new house that she and her fiance built. So I'm here for you instead. So our program covers Broome, Tioga, Shenango, and Delaware counties. We do offer the clean heating and cooling program, but I'm here to talk with you about community solar. We're also here to really answer any of your clean energy questions if we can. You can see Haley's contact information there on our website, nynest.org, where you can reach us and get more information. Next slide. So community solar. Community solar is quite different from conventional solar, which is where you have an array, which could be of any size, so it doesn't matter, that is either powering or providing solar credits to one customer. That could be on your home, it could be in a field providing energy for a very large commercial industrial business, but either way, it's just one. Community solar is providing solar credits to any number of people depending on size. And community solar projects are a great boon for those of us who are unable to put solar on our properties. I live in a forest, for example, or if you're a renter, or if you're just not really in a position to say, yeah, I'm going to make an investment, put solar on my property because I'm going to be around for a while. I want to do this. It's a very easy and low barrier way of getting solar credits. And the way that it works is that you provide your utility bill, or rather your residents of your community provide a utility bill to the developer of the project. And by that means, they're able to decide how much energy credit you need over the course of a year, and you're subscribed for that amount of money. The good news is, the new good news, I should say, is that going forward, as of next month, there is no longer two bills. If we were sitting here talking about this before, we would be saying that the developer would send you one bill where you'd be paying for your solar at a discount of anywhere between 10 and 20%. Or you would be getting your regular NYSEG bill. And you do have to be in NYSEG territory to sign up for any of the projects that some of us here are working with. Next slide, please. So you can sort of see the flow of the money. There's solar energy and credits that are flowing, and they show up on the bill of the particular customer. And as I've said, that's now a unified bill, which is really cool. These projects also provide some local economic development. There are lease payments that are made by the developers to whoever owns the land. In the case of the project we work with, it's on West Shenango Road in the town of Shenango. This project offers a 20% discount, and is a retired farm family that has 40 acres that are now covered with 6 megawatts worth of solar. And in addition, it provided some temporary union jobs for the folks that constructed the array. And it's going to be chugging away there for decades. And signing up is just as simple as going to our website or one of the other partners that is also doing community solar here. Not all of us are. Sign up and you'll hear from the developer and off you'll go. And with that, I will turn it over to who is going next. Is it Christina?
Nope, it's me.
It's Lisa.
Thanks, Adam. Hi, everybody. My name's Lisa Marshall. I'm the campaign director or the program director, actually, of Heat Smart Tompkins. Todd, I should have caught that in your slide. And I guessing everyone would like to hear some more information thrown at you after you've heard everything you've heard. But it's my job to sort of sum up everything that Todd, Eileen, Erica, and Adam said and help you get an idea of what this would look like if your municipality wanted to actually do one of these community campaigns, and how we would help you to do it and make it easy and fun for you to do. So next slide, Todd. Great. So Heat Smart Tompkins is a community nonprofit. We serve Tompkins and Chemung County. We are pumped about heat pumps and home energy efficiency. And we were actually the very first Heat Smart or clean heating and cooling community campaign in New York. So next slide. This beautiful map shows how the idea that started in Tompkins County with a few folks just sitting around the kitchen table thinking, what can we do to promote clean energy solutions in our community, ended up with NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, funding similar Heat Smart or clean heating and cooling communities all across New York, to the point where now most counties in New York are served by a Heat Smart campaign. And every county in this region this 10 county region that this webinar is for is served by either Adam's program, my program, or Erica's program. So, and if you're calling in or watching this webinar from outside this 10 county region, you can find your local one at getheatsmart.org, which is our little landing page we made to redirect people to the right clean heating and cooling community. Okay, next slide. So if your municipality would like to do a community campaign for clean heating and energy efficiency, which I definitely think you should do because it has such a snappy name, just rolls right off the tongue. But seriously, you should definitely do it because it's just a win-win-win. It's a win for your town to get the points and the grant. It's a win for the members of your community. learn from you, their own town and trusted partner, about the programs that are available to help them to save money and be more comfortable and healthy in their homes. So, and all the while, promoting these technologies and energy efficiency. As Todd said, it does stimulates the local economy and creates jobs, which during COVID we need more than ever in our region. So what we can pledge to do, once you decide you want to do one of these campaigns, you get in touch with Todd, and he will loop in the appropriate Heat Smart community, as well as Eileen, if it's in one of the counties that she serves, or the equivalent seat person in the county where you live. And we will help you brainstorm a plan for your campaign. We'll help you fill out the scoping document, which is just NYSERDA's fancy name for some paperwork that talks about how you're going to do your campaign. We'll track the leads that come in through your campaign so that we'll know when you've achieved the goal of 10 participants. And we'll provide you, we do we do outreach around these issues all the time. So we have flyers, Facebook and social media materials, all kinds of materials or language for your newsletter or your website, so that you don't have to invent it or figure out how to present it. We will help you do that. If part of your campaign is hosting a community meeting or webinar, or more than one community meeting or webinar, we will of course help you organize that and be presenters to talk to the community at your webinar. And most of all, we'll make the process fun and easy for you to accomplish, so it won't be a heavy lift. And we'll just, especially me, I'm really fun to work with, so you should definitely work with me. Okay, next slide. So what would that look like, us working together on a community campaign for clean heating and energy efficiency? So the first start would be usually you would meet with me and Todd maybe, and whoever on your town board or energy committee or clean energy committee or climate committee, or some volunteers in your community will sit down and talk about what the campaign might look like, brainstorm the tactics that you might use to do outreach to your community. And based on that, we would put together a short presentation for your town board or planning board or whatever group would actually vote and decide that you're going to go forward and do this campaign. And then hopefully hold a vote that supports the campaign officially. So once we have the support of the town board, then we work and fill out that scoping document. Todd and Eileen and I will get that together for you, or whichever group you're working with, write down all the things we said we would do, and we'll meet with you to talk about, okay, you said a webinar, when's a good date? We'll fill all that in. And then we'll send that puppy off to NYSERDA, and they are committing to trying to get those turned around within 3 weeks. Meanwhile, we'll just get going and launch that campaign. So we'll start the public facing portion of the campaign, where you will start to post on the town's social media, or send out information in the town newsletter, or put a little link on your website. Maybe you'll put it on your blinking electronic sign that sits out in front of the library. Whatever kind of outreach your town does, then we'll start to use those channels to talk about the community campaign. And we'll send them to a link where we'll track the leads that come in from that campaign. So once we get those leads, they might go to the Heat Smart program, where I will refer them to a contractor. If people are interested in a heat pump or a heat pump water heater, I'll probably take those leads and send them out to the contractors that Heat Smart works with. If they just want an energy audit or some insulation, for example, in the town of Veteran, where I'm working closely with Eileen, I'll send those leads to Eileen, and she will set those people up for an energy audit. And we'll track what happens when the contractors contact the households, and we will support those households in understanding the contractor's proposals for the work scope, make sure they got all of the grants or incentives that they are eligible for, make sure that their questions are answered. And in the end, what it might look like is, say in the town of Veteran, which I mentioned in Chemung County, maybe they'll get 2 people will contract for heat pump water heaters. They had old leaky water heaters and needed a new one and loved the idea of one that is gonna be more energy efficient. Maybe 2 people contracted for heat pumps because they were heating with propane and they found out that heating with heat pumps would not only save them money, but also give them air conditioning. They're really excited about that. And they found out that they were eligible for some grants to help pay for it. And then 6 people working with Eileen got some grants to get insulation. So that's 10 contracts, which means the campaign is over and you've won. And if you're one of the first 100 community campaigns, you'll get that $5,000 grant. And regardless, you'll get the 200 points towards the Clean Energy Communities program. So this whole process may take, you know, with a motivated group working together, it could take about maybe 2 to 4 months from beginning to end, more like 4 probably, realistically. And I will just say that, you know, I'll wrap up by saying that clean heating and cooling communities already may have leads in your community for heat pumps. And if those people sign a contract during the time of your campaign, we can count that towards your community campaign. So although you are responsible for doing some outreach efforts, we're also your partner there. We're doing outreach all the time. And if leads come in for your community during the time of the campaign, of course, we'll count those for you. So that's, I think, it for me, and turning it over to the next speaker.
Hi, I'm Christina Zill. I'm the coordinator for Transition Catskills, and I have helped several communities become clean energy communities back in 2018. The villages of Margaretville, Hobart, and Stamford. And I also assisted the towns of Andes and Roxbury install electric vehicle charging stations with rebates from NYSERDA's Charge Ready New York program. And then currently I'm helping the village of Fleischmanns and the towns of Andes and Hamden run community solar campaigns. If anyone wants to do a Heat Smart campaign in Delaware County, then I will partner with Adam Flint and we will make that happen. And then this summer, I hope to be doing some electric vehicle campaigns. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. So next slide. So these are the very simple steps to get started. The first thing you do is connect with the Clean Energy Communities Coordinator. And so that would probably be Todd or Terry, and then they would let me know, or if you know me, then you can just contact me directly. Then we fill out the scoping document, which looks a lot more complicated than it is. It just basically is letting NYSERDA know that your community is serious about it and that you have a plan, you know, that how you're going to market it and so on. And we submit the scoping document on NYSERDA's portal, which is super easy. And then we wait a few weeks and upon approval, we start the campaign. So that's pretty much all there is to it. And I guess now I'm going to put it back over to you, Todd.
Thank you, Christina. Yeah, so for communities that are interested in starting a community campaign, you know, as Christina said, one of the first steps is to contact Terry or myself. Here's our contact information. So you can please give us a call, shoot us an email, and we will set you up with our the most appropriate partner organization to help make sure that this campaign is successfully implemented within your community. So just a few extra resources also for you. If you're interested in learning more about the NYSERDA Clean Energy Communities Program or the DEC Climate Smart Communities Program, which has more information on campaigns and hosting campaigns, you can check out the links that are hosted here. And if you'd like to learn more about our amazing partners that we had on this call today, their websites are posted right here. And with that, we'd like to thank you everyone for their time this evening, and we are ready to take any questions that you may have.
And questions can be put in the Q&A section. You should be able to see that at the bottom of your screen, just in the webinar format. That's where they will be going.
So it looks like that first question that came through, how do we get a copy of this presentation? So we will post post a video recording of this presentation on our website, southerntiercec.org. And Theodora, if you could put our website link into the chat, that would be great. And so on our website, you'll be able to find a video recording and also the slide deck.
So I noticed that Jan Jaffe put a note saying can only put questions in the chat. So Jan, if you have a question, feel free to put it there if that works for you better.
I think she's referring to her earlier question about Ulster County.
I see.
Answer is yes, but probably you'd coordinate that with a different coordinator other than Todd or Terry, right, Todd? Who would be the coordinator for Ulster County?
Yes, so I do not know that who the coordinator is off the top of my head, but you can contact me offline and I'll connect you with the appropriate coordinator for Ulster County.
Well, if we've put them all to sleep, that's sad, but I was just wondering, Todd, you probably said this, but can they do multiple community campaigns? Can they do all 4 if they want to, or do they just get to choose one?
Yes, yeah. So a community is able to do all 4 community campaigns. And, once you reach the minimum participants, the campaign does not have to end. These campaigns are designed to be enduring because they have enduring benefits for your community members. And we like to see them ongoing and continual residential uptake of community solar and clean heating and cooling technologies. But, back to Lisa's question, we can work with you to do all 4 campaigns. We can run multiple of 1 campaigns. You only get credit for doing a campaign once, but there are 4 campaigns and you'll get credit for doing all 4 of them if you complete all 4 of them.
That's awesome, because I know that people are going to be beating down the door to do that demand response campaign.
Someone had a question in the Q&A asking who is eligible for grants. Examples were mentioned, renters, seasonal owners, etc. I'll speak on the part of HeatSmart, and then Eileen, if you want to hook on to SEEP. For the HeatSmart programs, when you're looking at anything to do with the heat pump incentives, that is pretty much wide open. That is not regardless of income. To get the NYSEG incentives for heat pumps, the only thing is it could be a rental, it could be like an Airbnb, VRBO, but it has to be used year round because the hope is that the funding will help to support people with heat pumps for heating and cooling needs and not just cooling. So Eileen, can I pass off that question for the weatherization portion?
Yeah, sure. Yep. Residents who own their homes or rent but pay their own utilities are eligible for the home energy assessment and energy upgrade program.
Actually, Eileen, I have great news. They just updated that. They don't have to pay utilities anymore. They just updated that, so that's hot off the press.
That is hot off the press.
I just told somebody the opposite, so I'm glad to hear that. I'm going to get in touch with them. But Erica, the rebates from NYSEG are for any NYSEG ratepayer. You don't have to be,
correct.
The home does not have to be occupied year round, just to make that clear. It's only the low income extra grants, right, that you're talking about that have to be for year round occupancy. Is that what you're
We'll double check with the manual. Something else I also wanted to mention is if you're with municipal electric only, Say you just don't, like you're on municipal electric, you don't have any, any other NYSEG. There are separate municipal electric rebates. So if that's something of interest, reach out to one of your Heat Smart coordinators and we'll get you set up with those as well.
Right. And also, if you're on municipal electric, but you get NYSEG heat, you can still be eligible for this program. FYI.
Okay. I saw that Jan posted in the chat a question that says, what do you get with the points? So as these campaigns are completed, and you'll receive 200 points per campaign, as you accrue these points, so if you completed all 4 community campaigns, you would have 800 points. Those points would be used towards grant funding for your municipal government to, when they accrue a certain number of points, there's different point tiers, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. So when you accrue enough points through action completion, so completing all 4 campaigns, 800 points, that gets you up to a 3,000 point tier. You'd be eligible for a grant, and that grant is dependent upon your community size. So it looks like it's not necessarily a question in our Q&A, but it suggests that it may be valuable to send out heat pump resources. Eileen, Erica, Lisa, and Adam, would you all like to talk about some of the heat pump resources or resources that you have at hand to share with residents or community members?
Yeah, we have all kinds of fact sheets and materials, both, sort of web-based on our websites, but also printable, downloadable PDFs and stuff like that, as well as the income eligibility charts by county. So, because those differ a little bit but from county to county for assisted home performance. So yes, we'll provide any materials that a municipality needs, either to help make their decision or to help do the outreach to the community.
Yeah, and additionally, all of our campaigns have the usual social media channels and websites with recordings of our webinars and announcements of those. Obviously, the most important webinars will be the ones that are concerned with your particular campaigns, but you'll be able to find information from past and future webinars just to get a flavor of what these look like.
For the Heat Smart FLX South program, our program is newer, so we are still building up our toolkit. We do have a 1-page residential flyer that we have been providing to residents in the local communities and hope to continue to spread that reach. We do have a heat pump brochure that was given to us by a colleague of ours that we have been using and will be updating. And I just want to do a quick pitch. If it's okay, Todd, we're going to be doing our big kickoff event for Heat Smart FLX South. Again, that's covering the counties of Schuyler, Steuben, Seneca, and Yates on May 18th. So please stay tuned.
Okay, and we'll do a final call for any questions that anyone may have. Seeing none in the chat or in the Q&A, with that, I'd like to conclude our webinar tonight on the community campaigns high impact action. If you have any more questions, or if as you're heading home, or if you wake up in the middle of the night and you have a question in your mind about community campaigns, please feel free to email me. Hopefully not, at 3 a.m., but you can, and I'll, or one of our partners, and we will make sure that your questions are answered correctly. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and thank you all for your time tonight. And have a great night. Safe drive home, and stay warm tomorrow.